Greetings, I'm Savannah from Black Witch Coven, and in this video I'm really just creating this video for our subscribers or for our newsletter group or people that like watching my videos and hearing a few updates. So this is just for you guys. I have some information about what's been going on at the Coven, and I'm going to answer a few questions that has been sent into the Ask Savannah page. We'll get stuck straight into it. So I just want to say, for those of you who have written in and to ask how I am, I'm doing fine, thank you very much. Sometimes, I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't have a lot of, if I'm busy doing other stuff, that's always my priority. So this has been an awesome year for me just to really dig in deeper and go into my next little rabbit hole or journey, if you want, in some other practices and areas I've been doing, which has been really awesome for me. I really love doing that stuff. Plus, of course, I'm a spellcaster, so I've been doing a lot of work for my clients and just really looking after myself. So and manifesting my goals that I set forth from the beginning of the year. So thanks for asking. I'm doing really well, thank you. And so is the rest of the Coven, I must say. Everyone is going very well. Everyone's making the changes they need to make so they go further into their own personal journey. This is something that I really encourage within my group. I want everyone to be where they want to be in their journey versus a traditional Coven where we're working from one book and one set of rituals, and I'm dictating a belief system. It's not about that. My position on that, where I'm at this stage of life, is that I am a Luciferian. So I'm about respecting I defend my own journey, and I respect other people's journeys, and I want people in my group to have that journey where they have the pleasure of learning whatever they want to learn in the way they want to learn it, and so be it. That's my strategy and my philosophy. So the only change, if you're used to our group, on the Black Witch Coven website, Gypsy has been a popular reader and performing rituals for many years now. But she's moving over. She hasn't left us. We have a different website based on more of the pagan style vibe. So it's called Witchucation. I'll leave a link down below, but you'll be able to book in with her tarot readings exactly the same as what you would over on the Black Witch Coven site. But she's providing those links and some more information about the things she's passionate about over there. But yes, we're all the same group. It's just another one of our websites, okay? Questions. Well, I have a few questions today to answer. Let's see. I have an interest in studying magic. I'm vehemently opposed to Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, and Satanism. I have been reading, watching on YouTube for weeks. I am trying to study occultism, meaning without studying magic, originating or being involved with the aforementioned religions. The problem I'm running into is that the entirety of the magic that I have been researching seems to have Kabbalah origins or involvement with Kabbalah. I would like to avoid this. And he goes on to say he's Norse pagan. The question is there a path in black magic that does not involve Kabbalah? So Joseph, my first question to you is, how do you define black magic? There's many different types of black magic, so I'm not sure you've really dug in and done a lot of research at this stage. Maybe you just want me to give you an answer. My first suggestion is on our website, on blackwitchcoven.com, did you jump up there and have a look at the start here and then look at the different styles of magic under there? Because so many of those don't involve anything to do with Kabbalah or religion. You're correct in that Satanism, if you're trying to put Satanism in the same category as the Abrahamic religions. I can't blame you on that, because technically you're correct. It's a religion. But Satanism itself, I would just hold back your judgment, because there are so many different branches and belief systems under that banner. And if you're really wanting to get involved in black magic, for example, the Satanic Bible, even though LaVey didn't believe that Satan wasn't a deity, he was an archetype, if you want, the spells in the Satanic Bible provide you a very solid foundation, a very solid step-by-step ritual for conducting 3 very important areas of magic. So if you're truly wanting a black magic experience that doesn't involve Kabbalah, it's not really involving Satanism as well. Now, there is an opening where you invoke a deity, and in the Satanic Bible, of course, it would be Satan. I'm Luciferian, so when I conduct these rituals, I'm evoking Lucifer. That's the goal. But to learn, if you want to learn, I suggest that you actually have a look at this book. You don't have to believe or follow all of their beliefs and values, but they offer a very solid ritual in black magic. Other than that, if you want a quick 2 seconds, S. Connolly. Now, she's written extensively in demonology. I'm pretty sure none of her work involves the Kabbalah, but if any of these authors, such as, she does demonology, and who else we got here? Of course, Michael Ford. He's written a lot in the Luciferian sort of space. Don't quote me on this, but if either one of these authors describes something that's from the Tree of Life or something like that, it's because of different types or different interpretation of the imagery and different ways to actually use the Tree of Life. But if you haven't really studied the system, or allowed the author to express what they mean by their usage of the system, I think you're going to judge what they're doing harshly and jump out of it too quick. Because I guarantee you, even if you did one of my courses, there's going to be things that I say that don't rub you right, and you don't have to do it. It's just expanding your mind. It's taking a step towards building your knowledge. Now, if you're really triggered by the word Kabbalah, stay away from all basically the Goetia or a lot of these ceremonial magic books, because these authors at that time were piggybacking off each other, trying to share their own version of these rituals. It's not wrong, it's just not what we do on our version of the left-hand path. We don't try and bind or control demons. We don't threaten them. We don't have an angelic entity that is standing there to control the demon, which is what a lot of these other rituals are trying to achieve. Lastly, I would say, as a Norse pagan, a lot of people would call that quite dark magic or black magic. A lot of animal sacrifice, a lot of very aggressive magical practices. So I don't know, have you got into that, or why isn't that satisfying your needs? I'm not sure. But yeah, I think if, those 2 books that I recommended to you at first, they should definitely lead you in the best direction. Otherwise, look at the links for the suggested courses on our website. So the next question, actually, you wrote this a while ago now. You say, thank you, Savannah, for your site and the great information you teach concerning the left-hand path. I have a question about Satanism. I have read the Satanic Bible as a teenager and felt that this book had a very powerful presence. I grew up as a Christian and had a guilty conscience about having it in my possession, so I tried to burn it and it wouldn't burn. How awesome is that? I also had personal experiences with demons at that time, which led me back to the false religion of Christianity. I'm now 30 years young. I added that, 30 years of age. And I'm comfortable with being a Satanist and have accepted Satan and his demons, the ancient gods and goddesses. That's how I feel. Okay, ancient gods and goddesses. Not just symbols or archetypes, but as personal deities to be worshipped. I believe once one calls him or herself a Satanist, they are worshipping Satan with or without knowledge. I'm also very different in my approach to Satanism, as I do not believe in the supernatural and do not agree with most theistic Satanists. I agree with LaVey's doctrine, but see Satan as God who accepts us as a carnal being. I also believe that Satan and his demons are a part of this earthly realm, just as we are in this realm. Nothing is beyond nature, in my opinion. The term supernatural is just a way for mankind to explain something he does not understand. Sorry to be long-winded, but my question to you is, do you see Satan as a force, a personal deity, archetype, or one's own godhood through knowledge of the self? Please let me know your thoughts. Because I'm a Luciferian, so I have Lucifer as the head of that archetype, where it is in the Satanic Bible. You've got Satan there, of course, because it's Satanism. Are they the same? Well, I've had actually on the website, I wrote about that before, and you know, Vlad, he's pure Satanist, but I work with Lucifer. Are they the same? Well, they kind of are, kind of different. Like Lucifer has more of that for me. You're going more on a journey with him, like he's more with me when I call to him in the morning. So I do venerate him, I praise him, you know, he's not just an archetype, he is a deity that I work with. I work with him as the top of my tree, if you want, and then leading down to all the other deities in the system, if you want. I see Lucifer, Satan, as being their own individual entities. I am what you would call a theistic Satanist, if you wanted to call me that, where I believe that magically we work with the entity. And so, for example, in the Satanic Bible, when we're doing the spells or the rituals where you're doing the invocation, I'm actually, it's not just an archetype that I'm trying to access into paths of my brain. I am actually calling to that Lucifer, Satan, as its own being. I'm trying to evoke that being into my space so I can put my petition across and try and create an energy, if you want, so it can hear me and hear what I want, and then help me manifest that through the relationship that we create. Now, I absolutely believe that Satan, Lucifer, all the demons, and lots of other different types of entities are amongst us all the time. And yes, they do like to interact with us, whether we like it or not. So you don't have to do a spell to summon an entity to be a part of your life. Sometimes, depending on what you're doing, you can attract them and they be part of your life regardless. And naturally, that can be a problem. Now, my belief in Lucifer is unshakable at this stage. I have worked with him for too long, and I know his blessings, and I've felt his punishment or his wrath at stages. Now, I'm just going to add something to this. It wasn't a far stretch for me to believe in Lucifer. I believe in the supernatural anyways, because, I've been, as a young girl, I've spoken about this a lot as well, having such a passion. I was such a beach chick, and I loved, swimming and surfing and being in nature and going for bushwalks and understanding that everything has a pulse. Every herb, every tree has a purpose, has a meaning, has a magical purpose, if you want, that can help us correct something within our system. It's just these days we'd like to have mundane reasons for why these herbs fix illnesses. It's not magic, it's called medicine. Back in the day, there was, we appreciated that there was the magic of the herb that helped fix people, or the properties of the herb. It just depends on how you live your life. Do you want to live it on the mundane level, seeing everything black and white? Or do you actually want to see the mystical properties and how each of those herbs has a planetary influence, and how that planetary influence, if you use that on a certain day, can heighten whatever you're trying to achieve? It's really up to you. And it's the same as with Luciferianism or working with Satan. He has an area that he likes to help people with, and if you work with him in the correct way, he can help excel you onto that journey. So would I get the same place in my life if I didn't practice the way I do? I probably doubt it. As a woman, maybe I wouldn't have been as ballsy to go into some of the arenas that I have gone in and been entrepreneurial within. To have very little fear, to be willing to take risk, knowing that someone's going to be holding my hand on the other side, ready to continue on with the journey. So I think I've explored that a lot, how I believe, right? Next question. Christopher says, I've already answered this, but would love to hear your thoughts. I am married to the demon Sabnok. Congratulations. And he is for protection and returns hexed and curses. Now, if you perform a hex on me, as requested by a client, would demon Sabnok make the one who performed ill? I might have to, I get what you mean. Let me just try and break this down, what you're trying to say. So what you're trying to say is that you're married to the demon Sabnok, and he is protecting you, and one of his skills is to return all the hexes and curses thrown your way back to the person, the spellcaster. That's what you're trying to say. And what you're saying is that if one of my clients hexed or cursed you with the same demon, would the demon return the curse to the client and kill them, or hex or curse them? Or would the demon return that to me and hurt me? Okay, so this is a really interesting question. I suppose I'll lovingly say to you that the idea of exclusivity doesn't exist in the demon world. So while you may be married to Sabnok and have this awesome relationship, Sabnok probably has a couple of other different husbands and wives. So that's firstly the most important thing to consider. And maybe Sabnok in rituals to you comes and says, hey darling, you're the only one. Where have you heard this before? So now in terms of, hypothetically, just to use your question, if somebody hired me or hired one of, probably Vlad, to do a hex on you, would Sabnok come back and take me out or take Vlad out? No, he wouldn't. That's just the way it is. I wouldn't be worried about that at all. Would Sabnok allow that hex or curse to go onto you? Maybe not. Maybe the energy just dissipates. And sometimes that is what happens when it's battle of the witch, battle of the sorcerer. So, for example, a lot of times, some of the hardest cases I do are working within the magical systems within India or Pakistan, or some of the Asian countries where you've got centuries of magical practices that aren't popular online. These are really extremely strong practices, and I'm battling not just one witch, but several witches in order to, I've got to clear a path in order to fight for what my client wants, but they've got a whole series of witches on their side working for what they want as well. And maybe they're all working with Lucifer or Azael or somebody as well, and I'm doing that. So it just comes down to then the consistency of the magic and the pressure and the intensity. There's a lot of other things that go on. So that's my answer to that. If one of my clients ordered a hex against you, would the hex be returned to me or be returned to the client? Now, It depends on how strong of a spellcaster you are. If I cast a spell at you on behalf of my client, it doesn't matter if you're with Sabnock or not, you're not going to know the way that I cast a black magic spell or the way I'm going to break you down before that spell is laid upon you. Sabnock isn't 100% insurance. The idea that as a spellcaster, if I'm coming at you, there's so many different ways to actually cast an effective hex. It's not just the spell itself. So to get around that as a person that works with demons, if I'm coming at you, there's a way to actually get Sabnock to actually be excused for a while so I can come straight at you. And it is a multi-part ritual, but it's definitely possible and probable. So if you're really strong with your protection magic as well, maybe it just bounces back. Now, I don't believe that it's going to bounce back to me. I have my own defense mechanisms that are very strong, otherwise I'd be very sickly, right? But isn't it amazing how every single year I'm okay? I'm not challenging anyone on that, but I have my ways of working my magical systems. In previous years, some of our junior coven members have had issues where maybe they've just gone straight into the dark arts and haven't done a lot of the protection work. And that there's also other things to do other than just protection work. You've got to make sure that your vessel, your temple, which is your body, is in tip-top shape, and and that your mind is really strong, because the first place that we're going to penetrate you is straight into a weakened mind. But that's what it really depends upon. So Sabnock, am I worried about him coming back and hexing me? No, I'm not. I have a working relationship with him. I think I've gained a few credits over the decades in this space. Will it potentially come back and attack my client? Well, no, I put a blanket of protection over a client too, or veil the client when we're doing spells of magic. But once again, this is a problem that is happening. It's not a problem, it's just the facts of working with the spiritual world. Like any mundane world marriage or relationship, there's no such thing as a guarantee. The only guarantee in your life will be death. It'd be crazy for me to believe that Lucifer is going to protect me on every single level, on everything that's coming my way. There has to be common sense when it comes to believing that you have blanket protection. No such thing. I work actively on multiple levels to ensure that I'm able to feel, sense an oncoming attack. I have a very specific way of dealing with it. And, it's done me very well for a very long time. Do I believe it's the only thing it's going to protect me forever, even though I have Lucifer and I work with so many different deities over so many different decades? I wouldn't even say, yes, I've got a blanket. It's always a risk in the left-hand path. It's a risk in life, anything that you do. If there's hate, hexes, curses, anything coming your way, you have to have a strategy for how what happens when that energy hits you. And you also have to have good spiritual hygiene if you want to, I just assumed that stuff's always coming my way. So I'm always doing practices to enhance my magical protection systems. But I'm not that complacent that I'll say that Lucifer is going to give me priority status amongst every other black magician or every other spellcaster out there. There could be another black magician out there that has done a fabulous ritual or something else, and it comes at me and perhaps penetrates my system. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. Unfortunately, that's the advice I have. Now, if you're asking me that question, you're probably going to say, no, Sabnock told me that he's going to protect me forever. If that makes you feel safe, then I would go with that. But look, anyone that I'm teaching magic to, I'll always say the first thing you have to learn is protection. You have to build up your relationship with deity, but don't expect that they're that interested in our daily lives that they're always going to be there ready to shoot someone that's trying to hurt you. I don't know. I would advise you to be careful. Also, this day and age too, everyone's sort of reading the same books and following this quick, shortcut way to spirituality or working with a demon. So everyone is quite equal when it comes to the basic spells and throwing down hexes. And most of the time, I'm told about what's happening online. People are fighting with each other and who's trying to be the badass and blah, blah, blah. It's really inconsequential because being with the demon is about having an ongoing relationship. And it sounds like, Christopher, you do have an ongoing relationship. Just don't be too blasé about what this means, because I don't know how many people have done pacts with Clonic or Belial or any one of the demons. That doesn't mean that now the demon is always going to be there doing what it's going to do. And, I've worked and currently work, some of my clients are extremely strong spellcasters, very strong spiritually, but they know that they have to have other skills and other things that they have to do in order to protect themselves or to get what they really want, because you can't just rely solely on the demon itself. So thank you for listening. Next week, I'm going to be putting out the start of a series where I'll be talking about magical tools. The first tool I'll be talking about is the magical wand. And I'm going to kind of make it fun. I'm not just talking about the wand. I'm actually going to tell you how to use it according to some different various magical systems. So I hope you're going to enjoy this series. I know I'm going to enjoy it too, because I'm getting a little bit over just answering the questions now. I want to get back into something fun and a little practical. So if you have any magical tool or something you want me to demonstrate, write into the Ask Savannah page and I'll put it on my consideration list. But otherwise, everyone stay safe, and there's just 2 months left of 2020. Yeehaw! Okay, blessed peace.